What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I literally just finished uploading my last video, and now I'm going to start tearing the cylinder head off of this thing and see what actually happened inside of this freaking motor that killed cylinder 2. Still not very happy about what's happening. There's really nothing I can do other than inspect it and see what happened, but I'm pretty devastated at this point. So I'm going to show how to pull the cylinder head off of here. I'm going to put it in service mode, so I'm going to remove the front bumper, headlights, core support, put it in service mode, remove the intake manifold, remove the timing chain, remove all this shit off the top of the head, remove the intake manifold, remove the exhaust manifold and the turbo, and then pull the head. And we'll see where we get, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. So first thing we need to do is remove this upper panel right here, and then we're going to remove the headlights, and then we'll remove the core support. We got to remove the bumper before we can remove the headlights. So first things first, got to pull these 4 screws right here. I believe they're a T25. All right, once you get those out, this front panel should pull this way and come out. I like always, put all my hardware back where I got it from. All right, once all that's put back in, we've got a bolt right here on the top, right here, and then you should have some in the sides. So we'll go ahead and pull those, and they are going to be a T30. You've also got a little electrical box right here that you need to pop out. There we go. So you got the electrical connector off. And to get that electrical connector off, you got to squeeze this little tab right here and then just pull down. Yeah, we've got a small Torx on the fender liner. Not sure what size it is. I think it might be a T20 or a T25. It's a T20. Alright, take those off, and then that should come loose. And there's my little screw for there, and then I should have another one over here. And this one's missing. Well, damn, does the headlight come out first? Yeah, I think the headlight might come out first. I don't know. I thought the headlight came out after. I think there's another bolt up inside of here. Yeah, there's a bolt right there. And that's a T30. Yeah, I think you're supposed to take the headlights out first, because then it would make it super easy to get to this bolt, but I'm just gonna keep going the way that I'm going. Fuck it. All right, there we go. So now the bumper's loose. You gotta disconnect the fog lights. There's one. the other. All right. We got those out. The bumper is off. I'm gonna go ahead and take the intake pipe off just to get it out of the way. And that's a T25, I think. Yeah, T25. That comes off, and then this will come off as well. Put these screws back in. All right, now we can disconnect the headlights, which is a T30 right here. A T30 right here, which I don't know if I can get to that one without taking the intake off, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the intake off. Make it a little easier for me to get to it. And of course, the freaking clamps at the worst possible spot. There we go. Now the whole air box is out. Alright, now that the air box is out, I can take the headlight out. It'll be a lot easier. You don't have to do that if you've got a longer reach T30 Torx, and I have a longer reach one. I just didn't feel, I'm too lazy to go get it. I got to take the intake out anyway to do the head, so it is what it is. And then you got another one back here. And one right here. Almost forgot about this one. Then just slide the headlight forward. Oh, you gotta disconnect the electrical connector. And the headlight just slides out. Now, the really important part when you're going to put this back together is to make sure that this goes back into the hook in the cover down here. I'll show you better on that headlight. And somebody changed the screw there, so that's not the right size screw. That's like a T25 now. And this one's the same way. You got a screw right here, and it's slotted, so you don't have to take the two bottom screws, don't have to come out, they're slotted. That one's a little tricky to get to. There we go. Alright, there we go. Now that's loose. And then alright, disconnect that. And now we can slide the headlight out on this side. So this is the tab that I'm talking about right here, and it slides into this little, there's a lock tab right here that it's got to slide into. So as long as that's done, you'll be all right. If you don't do that, the headlight will miss a line. Yeah, because if I take that bolt out, and then the 3 bolts that are holding the bumper reinforcement in, the whole thing should come off as one unit. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the horn. There's one horn connection. Pull that out and hold on to the white piece while you're pulling it, or it'll rip off the connector. And then these are hooked on. You just pop those off. Pop these off the top of the radiator and feed them through. There we go. And then disconnect your AC switch, which is not easy because they put the freaking lock on the back of it. So you can get a screwdriver down in the end of it and pry it back and it'll pop the clip. But you got to be real careful doing it this way. There we go. All right, so now that's off. We can take that completely out of the picture. We'll actually leave this up here because I don't want to leave it on the ground. All right, so all that's disconnected. This side's disconnected as well. So I need to take the 30 out of there. Yeah, there's no other, I don't see any other bolts holding it in. So now I just need to take the bumper reinforcement off, and the bumper reinforcement and both headlight sockets should come out at the same time. All right, so those front bolts are a 16. 16, if you're not aware, a spark plug socket, the small diameter spark plug socket is a 5/8 or a 16 millimeter. 5/8 and 16 are the exact same size, within a couple thousandths. All right, so that's all 4 bolts off of it. Now I should be able to take this. What else is holding it? There shouldn't be anything else holding it. Oh, there's a 10 millimeter on it, holding it to the core support. So I think I'm going to remove it from the core support. Try and reduce as much weight hanging on that core support as I can. You don't have to do what I'm getting ready to do. Removing that 10 millimeter nut that I just took off is not necessary. If you're taking the whole core support off as one unit, I'm trying to take the front bumper separate and the headlight cover separate. So, there we go. Now that I got both of those nuts off, this should come off. There we go. All right, that side's free. Oh, I gotta take the airbag sensors off. Shit, I forgot about that. All right, now that the airbag sensors are disconnected, I can take this off. So now this whole contraption is out of my way. You can pull these off if you want to. It's just a little clip right there and right there. I'm probably going to go ahead and remove the intercooler. I don't have to, but I think I'm going to. And I think I'm going to take the AC condenser and swing it over to the side so I can take the whole core support just completely off the car. So to get the oil cooler off of here, you got these clips right here. You just pull up on them, roll this out, and then get it off the bottom clip. And then that comes completely off. And this AC condenser was an absolute nightmare to get on and off of here when I put the new radiator in here. Because of this AC fitting right here, it does not want to clear that cover right there. So it was a nightmare. I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut the corner of that clip to make it a little easier for me to get the condenser in and out. But we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the intercooler. Just need to remove the 2 roll clamps, and then there's a T30 screw here, and I think that's it. And then this one's clipped in, and then you just kind of unroll it and it'll come off the clips. But I'll show you when I get to that. So there's the intercooler. This is a clip that I was talking about. So you take that bolt out, and then you squeeze that clip and roll it, and then it'll unhook from that clip and that clip. All right, now, in order to remove this AC condenser, it's just clipped in with these clips right here. But like I said, this is preventing me from being able to just slide the damn thing straight up. I wound up bending this clip and then bending it when I got it back in place, which is how I may remove it right now. I'm gonna see what I can do. I can't remember. I remember this was an absolute freaking nightmare to get in and out of here. There we go. And it also hits right here. That's the one that was really causing me problems. And I don't want to bend the AC lines because the freaking AC in this car works freaking beautifully. Oh, come on, bitch. There we go. So now that's out. That always scares me doing that. But I haven't had one break yet. So I got a pretty good batting average on that, even though it is very sketchy. All right, now I need to drain the antifreeze before I pull the core support off. So I'm going to drain the antifreeze and then I'll pit back up. All right, so to disconnect your hood latch or a hood release cable, you need to pull this off of the clip that's behind it. Sometimes it doesn't want to come off and you'll have to pull the whole clip off, so I'll take a flathead screwdriver and push underneath and pry forward while I'm doing it, and then you can squeeze these clips on the back of here. If I can get both of them to go in. And then squeeze this clip. All right, so now both of those are off. You can pop that back in place. Once that's done, then you pull on this end and pull the lid up, and then you can slide the ball out, and then you just slide that back down, and I always clip it back in just for good measure. This part stays with the car. All right, now that the radiator's been drained, you need to pull these 2 clips out of the top. All you do is press that clip over and pull up on it, and it'll slide out of this slot. slide those back in there. You've got a T30 Torx bit right there and right there. I already removed these. I've got all three of the hoses disconnected. So you've got your vent going to the overflow tank, your upper hose, and your lower hose. I got all of them disconnected. So now I'm going to pull the radiator out. And I've got my wiring for the cooling fan disconnected. The wiring for the cooling fan is right there. The connector is right here. You have to pull that red clip back, then you can pull on that black tab to separate it. And then these lower ones are clipped in. There's a little clip on the back of this that you have to push up to get it to come back past it. So I'm gonna get this one to, and now I'm gonna, damn it, I'm trying not to get covered in antifreeze. I just got antifreeze all over my hands. I was trying to wait until it's got done draining, but I need to hurry up and get this checked out. So now that those are separated, the whole radiator will come out. I can't do this one-handed, so hold on. So now that the radiator is loose and the clips are loose, the whole thing should come out. Now all that's out. There are two more bolts that you need to take out going into these brackets right here and right here. This one is rusted out. This one is rusted out. So I'm gonna have to remove the nuts on the back here, and they look like they're a 13. So I'm gonna pull those and then pull the two last T30s, and then the whole core support will come off. My only issue may be I might not be able to get this to fit through there, but I'm gonna see if I can. I've never had one with the power steering cooler run like this, so I don't know. I don't want to disconnect the hoses, but if I have to, I have to. This has been disconnected at one point in time. I know that because the hose is not routed correctly. So somebody's had this system off before, but I'll figure it out. But I'm gonna work on getting the core support the rest of the way off, and then I'll pick up. All right, so I'm not able to remove the core support without removing the cooler, and the cooler won't fit through that hole on there, so I don't really feel like screwing with it. So I'm just gonna leave it right there. If I need to get it out of my way eventually, then I will, but right now I'm just gonna leave it where it is. So now I'm gonna work on pulling the head off. First things first, I'm gonna disconnect the intake tube, disconnect everything to take the intake manifold off. Once I take the intake manifold off, then I'm gonna disconnect all the wiring up here, remove the PCV system, disconnect any hoses or anything going to the top of the head, remove the exhaust manifold, and then I'll remove the timing cover and get all that stuff set so that I can take the head off. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the intake manifold. I showed how to do that in my last video, so I'm not going to record any of this. I'm going to go ahead and remove the intake manifold, and I'll pull the spark plug coil, or I'll pull the coil packs and disconnect all this wiring, which, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just disconnect clips and pull it out of the way. And I'll pick up after I get all that done. All right, guys, so I went ahead and removed the front cover from the timing system and the dipstick tube. So all you got to do to remove the dipstick tube is you got to take the T30 Torx screw out of here and remove the screw here, and then you can twist it around and then it pulls right up. And this is it right here. So you just got that gasket on, or that O-ring on the bottom. You got the bolt there and the bolt there. And this hose is also hooked onto that bolt, so you can slide that out of the way. This is your coolant supply line for your turbo. Then you disconnect or take out the other two bolts, pull the front solenoid out. So there's the front solenoid. Pull that out, and then take the bolts off of here and then pull the whole cover off. Remove the PCV system. You just remove all those screws and take it out. This piece pops into the front piece. I went ahead and took the tube off because I'm trying to take the valve cover off, but if you want to take the tube off, you've got to use a 5mm Allen wrench. Take that bolt and that bolt out, and that is what disconnects this side, because it sits in there like so and pops into the side of this. So all that's removed. Disconnected the water or the vacuum connector from the back of the head. There's a push clip right there, and there's a slot in this cast aluminum part to push those clips, and then you just pull it back. Went ahead and removed the fuel line from the high pressure fuel pump, the supply line, and then moved the vacuum hose that was running over there as well. So moved all that stuff out of the way. It looks like everything's free from this side, from the head up. I've got everything on the back. I went ahead and removed the water outlet on the back of the head. It's 2 T30 bolts holding it in, and then it's just got the O-ring on there, so you got to be careful when you're pulling it out. But this is a common leak point. These things get dry rotted and start cracking, and they start leaking coolant like crazy. So if you got coolant leaking from the back of your head or leaking down the back of your block, that's where it is. It's coming out of that. Either this is broken or the seal's bad, or typically it's this that's broken. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull the high pressure fuel pump, and then I'm going to pull the back plate off of here, and I'll go ahead and pull all these solenoids. So all that is just a 4mm. I think that's a T25 Torx bit. Take T25 out and then just pull it out. So I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to actually label them. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to label them just to be safe. All right, guys. So I went ahead and removed the back end piece off the head. And all you got to do is remove these 3 10mm bolts. I believe this is some type of vacuum pump, but I'm not 100% certain. I would assume that it is, because that's where your brake booster connection's going, but I'm not 100% certain. But this is also where the cam follower for the high pressure fuel pump is. So I removed the high pressure fuel pump and then took those 3 bolts out and pulled it off. And then this is a 3-layer gasket that was holding it in. And I pulled all the cam position solenoids out. So now I'm going to disconnect the exhaust manifold, and it's these 12mm bolts here and underneath. And I'll disconnect all of those and get the exhaust manifold to separate. Then I'll start separating the timing. And what I got to do to the timing is I got to remove this bolt right here. That's the pressure for this main chain right here. And then that'll loosen everything up. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to rotate this thing around until I can get my gold chains to line up with my links in the right spot, so that it'll be easier when I put it back together. Now, I may have to rotate this thing 100 freaking times to get it to line up correctly, but I'm going to do that before I loosen the chain. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the exhaust manifold, and then once I get the exhaust manifold and the turbo and everything disconnected, then I will start removing the timing after I get all the timing marks lined up. So we'll see how it goes from there. All right, so now you can see I've got the gold link lined up. So there's one gold link lined up with the key, or with the mark on the pulley. And then here's the other mark on the pulley right there. And there's the gold link. So now I can pull my upper guide off. I can pull the pieces out here. Now you have to have a special tool to pull this out. You have to have a timing tool kit for this. I have one from when I owned my EOS. And it's right here, if I can get it. So this little kit, I don't remember where I bought it from. I think I bought it off of Amazon. But this little kit right here is what you need in order to do the timing on this car. So these are the locks for the camshafts. And then these are the tools to remove the freaking VVT solenoid. And then this is to lock your tensioner. So yeah, I'm really hoping that I don't have to pull the freaking front cover off, but we'll see. I'm gonna pull this plug out and inspect it, but I don't know. All right, guys, so there's a VVT solenoid. Once you unscrew it, it is a left-handed thread, so you would need to turn it clockwise like you're tightening a normal bolt. But once you unscrew that, it comes out. We can take that. And I don't want anything to get filthy, so I'll just put it... Hell, I don't know. I'll figure out where I'm going to put this because I don't want it to get anything. All right, now I've got the timing cover removed. And I had a really good seal on there. I freaking bent the cover when I was taking it off, which is normally happens. Whenever you take that cover off, you're supposed to replace it because it bends so easy. But now I'm going to compress this tensioner. Then I'm going to use one of these clips to clip on there and get it to hold. Yeah, so it clips on right there on the front, and it'll also clip onto those little retaining tabs on here. So when I compress it in, I'll be able to slide that clip on there, and then I'll be able to take the chains off. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna compress that tensioner right there, slide that clip on, and I'll pick up after I have that compressed. All right, now that I have the tensioner compressed and held in place, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these two screws and take that out, and then I'm gonna use a triple square and take this bolt out and take this guide out so that I have enough slop on the chain to get it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll pick up after I get that done. All right, now in order to remove this guide, I've already removed the two triple squares, but I forgot. In order to remove this, you have to remove the oil chain and the oil chain guide. So to remove this, you just unload that spring, and then that loosens up. And then take this T30 out right here. And there we go. Now the whole guide for the oil pump is off. And now we can slide this down enough to get the chain off. And I think I have to pull the chain completely down in order to get the guide out. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these clamps for the camshaft pulleys. And I'm gonna go ahead and get those out of the way so that I can pull that out, and I'm gonna remove the chain. So I'll remove both of these, remove the oil pump chain, and remove the main timing chain, and then I'll pull this down and take it out. All right, guys, so I just got done removing the turbo and the exhaust manifold since they're all one piece. You take all these 12mm bolts out. You do not have to remove these all the way. You just need to loosen them and then pick the manifold up. These, all 4 bolts for the catalytic converter are a 15mm. And then you have to disconnect coolant line, coolant supply, and coolant return, and then oil return. You got to disconnect all of those, and then you can pull the turbo out. Now, I didn't see where the oil feed line is on this thing. Oh, this must be oil feed. I thought it was coolant. No, that's coolant. So then why is there... I don't know. Oh, okay. There's your oil feed and your oil return, or vice versa, whatever. And then that's your coolant in and your coolant out, or vice versa. I'm not 100% certain. So I had it messed up. This is your oil line, and then this is your oil line down here. So these two are oil. That one's coolant, and that one's coolant. But you get those off. There's a bracket right here running from here to the bottom of the turbo. It's a 13mm. Take that bolt out, and then it can come off. Now, to remove the cylinder head, there's a bunch of little plastic covers in here. You don't have to take the valve cover off to remove the cylinder head. All you got to do is take the oil fill cap off. As you can see, the camshaft is clearanced to get to the bolts. And same thing inside each one of these holes. So you can get to all the bolts for the head without pulling the valve cover off. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these 4 right here, T30s, and then I'm gonna start breaking the head loose and pull the head off. All right, guys. So I don't know if you can see the problem from here, but I'm gonna point it out in just a second. So this cylinder doesn't look horrible. It's got normal wear. That one, super clean. That's the one that's been missing like crazy. I don't want to move the head because I don't have anywhere to put it. But let's look at the combustion chambers on each one of these. So this combustion chamber, you got a little bit of carbon, nothing too serious. Doesn't look that bad. This is number 3. Got carbon on it, doesn't look too bad. Number 4, got carbon on it, doesn't look too bad. Number 2, look at that freaking piece of the valve missing. So I think that is what grenaded the freaking motor. That is not from me having a bad spark plug or whatever. I actually think that when that piece came out, that's what damaged the spark plug and caused it to, because it started missing horribly when I was going through the mountains, and it never got any better. Even with changing the coil packs around and whatnot. So I think that is what physically happened when I was driving the southern part of Kentucky, and that's what blew the freaking motor out. I'm glad I was able to get this thing home, but now I need to replace the cylinder head or get this one rebuilt, one or the other. So I'm gonna figure out what I need to do, and I'll pick back up after that. All right, guys, so that's gonna wrap up this video. I've already ordered a replacement cylinder head off of eBay for 350 bucks. I've got a new set of head gasket, a whole upper gasket kit coming for the car as well. Everything should be here by next weekend. So hopefully next weekend I'll be able to have the car back together and back on the road, and I'll be able to finish getting it registered and all that good stuff. So if this video helped you out in any way, like always, please like, comment, share, subscribe, let your friends see what I'm doing, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Have a great one.